Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, Tickle here. So today, as you seen from the title, we gonna talk about it. BTS has decided on, let me just get my thoughts together, hold on. So, on July 29th, Bangtan Sonyeondan, okay? BTS, each individual member on their Instagram put out a statement basically saying, you know what? We're not submitting anything. We're not submitting Arirang nor no song, no track on the album to the Grammys this year. Um, and so, of course, the internet exploded. Okay, exploded after that. So first things first, we gonna watch. I got this High Boy video. He just to give an overall view because he got it set out because the Grammys, the CEO of the Grammys of the Recording Academy responded to. I mean, he had no choice because this went worldwide instantly. So he had to come out. And say something. And so High Boy's going to go through that, but we're not going to watch this whole video. The link will be in the description. I want to, discuss the situation, what happened and everything, and give my thoughts on it. And then my overall thoughts on the whole Grammy process and just some facts. Like, because I've watched a lot of different reactions and comments to this situation already. And I mean, a lot of them are army, consider themselves army, a lot of the creators. So some of that bias is showing. But as, an American and as a black person in America and the music that I like and stuff and artists I love and wanted to see them get Grammys and things and including worldwide artists such as BTS, how it goes, and it just gets some facts out there and maybe have some people's focus shift because, yeah, we'll talk about it. First, let's get into this video. So, High Boy is going to explain the situation and the response from the Grammys, and then we'll go to a discussion. And I want y'all to discuss. I need to see some comments so we can have some dialogue. That's all. So, let's get it. Let go.
Yesterday, we covered BTS dropping that absolute bombshell announcement that they are officially boycotting the 2027.
Before we get into it, now I will say I love this. Now Tay's posts, you see it, most of them besides Tay and RM, they put pictures with their posts, But Tay, I heard this is like a ranking, what is it? Icon, I guess, or ranking picture, emoji, avatar, whatever, for League of Legends, I think it is. And this particular one means he's a like master level or something, like grandmaster or master level, something like that. So gamers probably got that quick, you know what I'm saying? And then RM for he's got the 2.0 look, from the first part of the video, or the old boy look, I guess, from the movie that they were honoring in that bit of the music video. So so I like Tay's. I like their thing. So they let them know, like, whatever. But okay, sorry. Let's go back a little bit.
Yesterday, we covered BTS dropping that absolute bombshell announcement that they are officially boycotting the 2027 Grammy Awards and refusing to submit Arirang or any of its tracks.
Yes, so here's their statement, translated. And I love that they dropped it in their Korean, so they dropped it in Korean. So we had to get the translation. So we have decided not to enter the Grammys this year. We hope that our music can be heard and loved for the music itself rather than being divided by region or language. We thank Army and everyone who is always with us. That's it. That's all. That was their statements. Okay? But notice, and please, people note, like, people all have, the ones who hate the Grammys and all that, and then been through the last 6 years of them being nominated and not winning stuff. This year. So they will, if they drop, which I think they're going to drop another follow-up album, like a mini EP, maybe 6 songs or something like that. Probably either, I'm saying during their big break from December to February, somewhere near, if not sooner, we might get it sooner, but somewhere near, they dropping another album. So that for the next section of the tour, starting in February 2027, they got some fresh stuff. Plus the Arirang stuff, of course. But they got some new stuff. That album will be eligible for the 2028 Grammys. So that's all I'm saying. But anywho. So yeah, so I've been noticing people skip that part of their statement this year. That means this is just for Arirang. Anything that comes after, solo or group, may still be submitted. So let's just keep going.
By stating, we have decided not to enter the Grammys this year. We hope that our music can be heard and loved for the music itself, rather than being divided by region or language. We thank Army and everyone who is always with us. Well, less than 24 hours later, Recording Academy CEO Harvey Mason Jr. personally issued a lengthy response. Now, if you think about it, the chief of the biggest music institution in the world does not put out an emergency statement for just any artist, which shows you exactly how deeply BTS' decision rattled their entire operation. But when you look closely at what he actually said, his statement does not read like a genuine understanding and more like a classic PR attempt to
Now, I don't agree with that. So I think part of his statement is a general understanding. The first part, that's him. He, as a creator himself, because the new CEO, Harvey Mason Jr., is a new CEO. He hasn't been in the job long, and he was a creator first. Who became CEO, probably with the dreams of doing what I saw and read some articles that he has been doing. He's been trying to get more categories in to open it up to more artists worldwide, because he's come in contact with that music and liked it. And now he's in a position to do so. So that's why and from what I've been told, he's been consistent in his tenure so far of trying to add more categories so that more people can be recognized. Even if they don't win, they at least get nominated, and that even counts. They can forever then put Grammy nominated in front of any advertising marketing they do. So let me just say that. So I don't agree with that. But his first part, that addresses his personal feelings. Now, I do agree. The rest, he's doing his job. He's telling you what their system is. And and he may be 100% genuine or sincere about what he's saying here. Can it be exclusionary? Yes, because of the voting members and the selection committee for the nominees who are reviewing all the submissions. But we'll get there. So that's all I'm saying now. Everything ain't just black and white, evil and angel. It ain't like that.
Defend a flawed system. So let's take a look at the full statement. I am saddened to hear that BTS has chosen not to participate in the Grammy Awards process this year. But as a music creator, I understand and respect their decision.
That's him. Okay? That's him, the person. Now we get to the CEO.
I do want to clarify something that seems to be getting lost in the conversation. The Asian pop category was created to celebrate the depth, diversity, and extraordinary growth of pop artistry coming out of Asia. The spirit of this new category is to shine a dedicated spotlight on these important artists. More categories mean more artist work is recognized. It's never to divide, but to expand who is recognized by our 15,000 Grammy voters. And he continues, I also want to be very clear. Submitting music in a genre category, such as Asian pop or jazz or country, does not exclude an artist from also submitting and being considered in the general field categories, including Record of the Year, Album of the Year, and Song of the Year. Those categories remain open to any eligible recording, regardless of genre. Recognition in a genre category and recognition in the general field are not mutually exclusive. An artist can absolutely pursue both. The Grammy organization is here to serve music and all the people who make it. As we continue to expand the reach, our membership, and our awards, regardless of geography or language, I want to emphasize that we will continue to listen to the global music community and work to honor and celebrate all the artists whose music moves the world. Harvey Mason Jr., Grammy's CEO. So there you go.
Okay. Before he gives his opinion, if I'm even going the rest of the way for that, because I can't really remember what else he did after that. He's technically correct. Like what he's saying about everybody you can submit for whatever the hell you want. Whatever Grammy you want to, whatever category you're trying to get in on, you can submit. It's still, so he's not lying, so you can submit for best R&B and record or song of the year. You can, or even if you have a music video, you can go into those categories too. Production, design, costume, all that. So you can submit for a lot of stuff. It's still going to, once we're going to go through how the Academy chooses the nominees. And as he said, 15,000 voters. Those people, along with whatever committee does the actual putting them in the categories. 5 people, mind you, not 20, 5. And 8 for the big 4 categories. So, out of the millions of submissions, I'm sure they get. So, he's not lying, but he's also not detailing the nominee pick process, because that's where it falls, So, okay, let's see what else.
That's a full statement. What do you think? Well, the top comment that I see says, sometimes it's better to just shut up at the Purple Heart. So if you look at the statements overall, he starts off by saying that he is saddened by BTS' decision, but that as a music creator himself, he respects their choice. Well, that's a polite opening, but it is designed to soften the blow. But the core of this message is a direct defense of the new Best Asian Pop Music Performance category. And he claims that the category was built purely to celebrate diversity and expand recognition for Asian artists, insisting that the goal was never to divide creators by language or region, directly referencing the portion of the statement from BTS as part of their boycott. And then he goes, where is it? Yeah, so again, that's a direct response and subtle response to their statements about music needing to be loved for what it is rather than being divided, as RM and other members said. But Mason Jr. kind of completely sidesteps the actual problem. So the issue was never whether the Grammys intend to divide people on paper. The issue is how those 15,000 voting members actually behave in practice. Mm-hmm. And by creating a separate regional bucket, the Academy gives its voters an easy out to relegate global acts away from the major televised awards. Of course, they're not going to say on paper that we are trying to divide by region or language. But in reality, it's, giving those voters an easy option, easy way out. And Mason Jr. then leans heavily in.
So, again, coming as an American, unfortunately, America was built on, I mean, you may not like it, but it is what it is. Racism, xenophobia, that's part of American culture too. Let's not lie. You know what I'm saying? It's fact is a fact. So, knowing this, now all 15,000 Grammy voters are not just American. The majority are, but even BTS themselves are voting members. So you know what I'm saying? But a lot of that 15,000 probably are Americans. So with the American lens and what they've grown up with, so yeah, High Boy and some others may see that as an easy out. But the ones who got these categories, whether it was Asian, Latin, African, Afrobeats, whatever the categories are that are not considered American categories, you know what I'm saying? Somebody pushed for that simply because they know that a lot of these voters is coming from the racist lens and will never put those artists from those different places in if they just kept it to the main categories. They would never get acknowledged. Ever. Okay? Except maybe like Michael Jackson, in that level. And maybe not even the Squad is kept, but, So by having these other things, at least they can win something and be all the other 4 nominees can be recognized. Otherwise, they would never be. So I think that's where you have to see it from. Not like, oh, it ain't right. It shouldn't be like that, but it is what it fucking is. Like, come on now. Like, so that being upset about that, okay. But then trying to act like it doesn't matter or not culture doesn't matter. It does. This is an American show. You're going to have to expect some racism, some xenophobia and all that was there when it originally started. And people have been trying to push to be more inclusive. And unfortunately for award shows, the only way to try to get more inclusion is to make subcategories. Or just not have it at all and it's going to be the way it was and you ain't going to never see nobody from somewhere else. That's all I'm saying. Keep going.
Into a technical defense of the rulebook, right? He emphasizes that being submitted in genre category like Asian pop does not exclude an artist from competing in general field categories like Record of the Year or Album of the Year. And he reminds everyone that recognition in both fields is not mutually exclusive. But this is where the commentary gets frustrating because pointing to the rulebook ignores years of decades of Grammy history, because technically rap albums and Latin albums have always been eligible for Album of the Year, yet we have seen time and time again how those genres get isolated into their respective subcategories while mainstream pop acts, as critics point out, specifically white mainstream pop acts, sweep the main stage.
America!
And telling artists that they are technically allowed to compete in both fields does not really fix the implicit bias that's built into the voting culture. And then Mason Jr. closes by stating that the Grammy organization is here to serve music and will continue to listen to the global music community. But there is also a irony in saying that you are listening when the biggest group in the world and millions of listeners across the globe just told you that your new rules feel kind of exclusionary. And your response is simply to re-explain the rules to that audience.
And I would say that's all he can do as a CEO because he has no control over how them 15,000 members, and it has to be active voting members, so they paid that membership fee, vote. He has no control. All he can control is trying to get as many categories as possible in so more people will be able, more artists worldwide and American and anywhere else can submit, can be recognized, can be even looked at, listened to. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. So I'm done with him. So with I gotta get my thoughts together, sorry. With the biases that are, inherent in American society, the people, armies, the Beehive, all that, Beehive, whatever, all the different fandoms and fans really need to be focusing on the voters, which is the singers, the other artists, songwriters, producers, the technical folks behind the scenes that are working in the industry, those, and executives at labels and choreographers and performance directors, all that. Those are the voters, and probably people on the selection committee. Those are the biases and prejudices and superiority complexes, let's quiet as it's kept, egos that are doing all the voting for the nominations and then voting from those nominees to the winners. So even with the Asian category, because I do not think they're going to remove it, because I do think at least this CEO is sincere in that he wants more Asian artists to be recognized. And not just J-pop, K-pop, C-pop, Asian artists, period. So, eventually, I even see once that gets going, and depending on who wins and where the winner comes from, like if it's in the K-pop, J-pop, C-pop industry, or if it's just an artist, a Japanese artist, a Korean artist, a Taiwanese artist, an Indian artist, don't let a Bollywood Indian artist submit their stuff and enough voters like it and they at least get nominated in this category. Because then those fans, and Bollywood is an industry of its own, just like K-pop or J-pop, etc., are industries, not genres, industries of their own. Eventually, they gonna want their own. They might want their own category, specifically that says Bollywood or something like, you know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. Like, so. That's how, but then that's another, 5 more artists that will be recognized in that season or year. Another 5 able to add to the pot that you ain't never heard of before, but you will because they got nominated for a Grammy. That's what he's talking about, and that's what it is, but still. Now, those voters who would never have looked at them otherwise would have to at least look at them to vote. You know what I'm saying? So putting them on, so to speak. So I think that is, to that. Now, BTS, come on now. I applaud them for, we ain't dealing with this this year. We on the world's, they got their validation. You know what I'm saying? Like RM said, they got their validation. I feel that was more important to them at the AMAs when they won Artist of the Year, because that's fan voted. That was their fear. Biggest fear was that the fans would leave them when they had to leave for the military and not come back. But of course, they gained even more army while they were on hiatus. You know what I'm saying? So, but they didn't know that, and they still had that fear. It wasn't until the AMAs. If you watch the behind the scenes of it, RM says it himself. That was what they were most afraid, or at least that's what he was most afraid of. was that armies would not come back. That Artist of the Year award they won validated that for, and also their concerts, their sold out concerts that they had done up to that point, showed them that no, we here. You know what I'm saying? We here. You got even more. You even more popular now, right? And Arirang being on all the charts, you know, #1 on Hot 100, and Swim #1 on Hot 100, and Arirang #1 on Billboard 200 and 200 excluding the U.S. Come on now. Swept. They swept with their comeback album. So they got their validation that they were most worried about. Now, yeah, do they want a Grammy? Yeah, they do. And they still do. Even though they're not submitting this year, they still want a Grammy because, okay? Outside of the influence or not, it's the Grammys in and of itself is, outside of all the other award shows, that is validation by your peers. Your fellow artists, the fellow behind the scenes, the producers, the songwriters, the executives, the industry. You know, like, it's your peers. So to an artist, that's probably why Grammys has always been considered, in my opinion, why Grammys has always been considered the top award for a musician or a songwriter, you know, the music industry. Because it's peers validating each other. You know, it's a rapper, like, say, okay, RM loves Nas. Okay, and this is going to be a very toned down thing of that. We've already heard, you know, that's one of his favorites. That's Nas coming to RM based on a body of work that he has seen and telling RM that he's a bomb-ass songwriter, rapper. You need to work on the dancing. But, you know, Nas don't dance either. So, you know what I'm saying? But for what Nas does and what he's congratulating RM, he's validating RM. That's a Grammy to an artist. You know what I'm saying? That's what that is. That's why artists, even though we all know, you know, we don't like the shady stuff, and you know, the American built ingrained racism and xenophobia that's in there. We don't like people trying to spite that by adding all these other categories based on region or genre, you know, and not, you know, putting them in the big ones, but they still getting recognized. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's still a Grammy. It's still your peers. You know what I'm saying? Doing that. So that's what I'm not hearing in this conversation, is like people are just want to be mad. You know, be like, yay, BTS, yeah, do that, show them, da-da-da-da-da, but not thinking about it, you know, as it is. Like, come on, you can't say, I don't want to see Afrobeats, I don't want to see country rock, I don't want to see yada, 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 all these different categories. You know what I'm saying? Reggae and Latin and, you know, and folk and just all these different categories. But if we didn't have those, all those artists that don't break into worldwide, you will never hear about. Ever. Because you ain't looking for them, because you don't know to look for them. You learned about them because they got nominated. Who's that? Oh my God. And then that'll take you down the rabbit hole of that genre or that country's music. So, you know, like, the outrage is, you know, so that's just what I noticed. So, to that end, again, like I said, if you want to watch his video, because he did quite a few videos about this already, the link to this one will be in the description box. So we're gonna move on now, because I want to know what y'all think. Like, am I making sense? Like, do y'all hear what I'm saying right now? So BTS not okay. So don't get it twisted. From BTS not submitting an award this year, I totally understand. 100%. I get it. They are tired. Okay? And like I said before, they don't need it. They've been validated. They're going to continue to be validated to that last concert tour in 2027. Okay? They're validated by sold out stadiums. They're validated by the love. They're validated by armies streaming and keeping them on the charts. Like, they're getting their validation for this year. Now, like I said, if they drop a backup album at the end of the year, beginning of next year, now maybe they'll take that and submit that for Grammys and stuff, and keep it moving. If they drop some individual stuff, they might submit that for 2028 Grammys. You know what I'm saying? So come on now. So anywho, so these are the big four. Big four. Actually, I think it's technically a big six because there are a few others, like producer of the year, non-classical, and songwriter of the year, non-classical. But that's it. But these are the big four. So you got, and only two of them the artist gets. Well, three of them, I guess. So album of the year honors the entire album, including main artists, featured artists, producers, engineers. So everybody. Record of the year recognizes one song and the artist, producer, and audio engineers get those Grammys. Song of the year focuses just on the songwriting team and composition, and you have to do at least 50% of that. So the artist doesn't get that Grammy, just the songwriters. Now RM is credited as a songwriter on every song on Arirang, so he would get a Grammy, and anybody else who was on that song as a writer would get a Grammy. But the rest of the group, if their name wasn't listed in them credits, in the songwriting credits, they ain't getting a Grammy. You know what I'm saying? So, and then best new artist, it's the artist who gets it. And then, of course, producer of the year, it's the producer. Now, whoever was credited as producers, producer or plural, which again, RM is on those too, I believe, on every one, but not all, like JK and Jimin. Like there's producers on and songwriters in the groups on different songs. So it depends on what the song they submit, honestly. And then, so these are the big four, okay? Now, if people who didn't want the Grammys to change or be, more inclusive, this is all we would get. If people didn't push and they started creating all these sub-genres and world, genres and, again, a lot of that was based on racism and trying to keep people in the box out of these big categories. But again, that depends on the selection committee. So these are the big four, these are the main categories that everybody, wants everybody to be in. Okay. Now, and Google's your friend, you guys, because this ain't nothing but Google, okay? So this part is where I think, is the key. The people that are involved in the submission, in the screening, are the ones who are holding the cards and are the biases and prejudices and whatever. That's where it starts. That's where the end all be all. Because, Grammy nominees are chosen through a peer review process involving music creator members of the Recording Academy, categorized by submission and screening, first round voting, and final nominee determination. Okay? So, musical submissions. Artists, record labels, and the Recording Academy members submit recordings released within a specific eligibility period. For this upcoming Grammys, the eligibility period was August 31st, 2025, and it's to August 28th, 2026. So, in that year, anybody worldwide who's dropped some music can submit it to the Grammys if they so choose. for your consideration. Okay? That's what that means. That's what all the for your considerations are, is for that. But the only eligible people are if you drop the project August 31st and you still got to August 28th to drop a project that you can then submit for their consideration. But right here, eligibility vetting. This right here, to me, is where all the magic happens. Because you could submit to whatever you want to submit to. I want my album to be recognized, to be considered for album of the year. I want this song to be considered for song of the year. I want this music video to be considered for best production, best costume, best set design, yada, 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 yada. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and I'm in this song specifically is in this genre. Genre. So I also want to submit it for best R&B, best rap, best whatever. You know what I'm saying? This is a collab, best top duo group performance or best collaboration, whatever. You can submit to your heart's content, unless they got to pay for everything they submit. I don't know, but that process ain't stated. But you can submit for your consideration for whatever. But it's these people, the staff and genre screening committees. Those people are the ones with the power to get you on that nominee list. Well, no. Well, yeah, to get you even in the right place. Actually, no, it might be the first round voting too. But so right here is where they're going to check your entry to verify the technical qualifications and ensure the tracks are placed in the correct musical categories. So, say for instance, Cowboy, when Beyonce submitted different tracks for Cowboy Carter, the committee is looking to see, and she submitted it for the country pop, country, whatever. I'm sure they got like 50 different categories under country. Not that many, but you get what I'm saying. She submitted it for country, though. When you hear Beyonce, country is not the first thing you think of. So, I'm assuming, or at least I would hope, that they actually listened to whatever, unless if it was a specific song or if she's doing the entire album, they listened, skimmed, whatever, through that, and then said, I agree. This is country. And throw it into that section to be voted on. Along with thousands of other country songs. Okay? And so on and so forth. Now, this here, I don't think they're deciding, well, yeah, they are. They are. They're deciding correct musical categories. So if they don't think that what you're submitting for is the correct category, I don't know if they return it to you or they just place you in what they feel is the correct category. So again, whoever those staff and genre screening committee members are, it's their bias, their view, their opinion of where a place should be. And they might think it should be, some of them might be Army. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever fandom or whatever. Some of them might be someone who worked on the project itself. And they might feel, okay, well, they said this was, they only submitted this for song. Now, I don't know if they have that discretion or not, but they may say, well, I'm also going to put them in the R&B category. I'm also going to put this song in the rap category. I'm going to put this in the dance category, dance performance or something category. Oh, this song's video was bomb. I'm putting this in the production, set design category. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I mean. So are they doing that, or are they only looking for what the artist asked for and saying, do you actually fit in this field? If so, yes. So we don't know that. We don't got that level of detail. But we do know it is staff and a committee that make sure they're in the right categories. So then the first round voting. So this here, again, does this go to all 15,000 members? I'm assuming it does. So, which includes BTS, a lot of members of HYBE, and a lot of the other HYBE artists who have joined the Academy as a member and then as a voting member. Along with probably 95% of the producers and songwriters who worked on Arirang. You know, they're probably voting. 95% of them, I would say, maybe let's just say 85% are voting members of the Academy, along with BTS. So that's all I'm saying. So we all know BTS loves music. So I would not doubt that during them long ass, especially now because they still members of the voting academy. So during these long ass flights, or when they're bored, or got some time, or whatever, they're listening to the submissions. I believe they're going to listen to every single submission, or as much as they can, not just I recognize that, I recognize that, I recognize that, I recognize that. Okay, that's enough. I'll choose between the ones I recognize and not look at the other thousands that they have. You know what I'm saying? To vote for. I think BTS is going to listen because they love music, and any other creator, producer, songwriter who also loves music would probably try to listen to as many as they can and choose based on what they like. They might whittle it down, but some people don't want to put that much effort into it. Others do. And we'll be able to tell because BTS shares music on their Instagram every time they post. And sometimes I've seen their post. I'm like, who is this? And I read who the song. I ain't never heard of this artist before. That'll make me go look. So we know they listen to other artists. And what they get from the Grammys is just a nice big sample of everyone who submitted, at least. So they're going to find new music all day, every day. And they share. If something spoke to them, they share it on, it's the music on their post that day. And I'm not even on TikTok, and I bet they do that on TikTok too. So, let me know in the comments. Have you discovered any new artists just from what BTS uses as the background music for their posts and stuff? That's that. So the first round voting members, once all the submissions are put in the category, then it's the first round voting that chooses the nominees. And remember, there's only 5 per category and 8 for the big 4. Maybe even the big 6. I don't know, but on the big 4, 8. That's it. Out of the thousands upon thousands of submissions for your consideration. So this is where it happens. And so again, my whole point, sorry, I'm rambling, but my whole point is the 15,000. Let's say out of that 15,000, 10 are American born and raised. So again, with the ingrained racism and xenophobia that this country has been built on and reinforced, or tried to reinforce to today. You know what I'm saying? So those people with a lot of open-minded and, also marginally, categorized by the Grammy audience are voting. Now, are they, I'm sure there's a lot. Don't get it wrong. This is their industry. So there's a lot of the members who probably do give a lot of, but because vote tabulation, independent accounting firm tabulates. So they're probably just hitting a button like we do for like the AMAs and stuff. We go on their website, we vote. They're probably doing that, but in the thousands, because there's thousands of submissions. So they got to go through that. Now, we're humans. Think of your humanity. Think what you do. Are you genuinely going to look through a list of 1,000 mugs, or are you going to skim it? Oh, okay, I know them. I heard of him. I heard of them. Oh yeah, yeah, I like them. Yeah, they bomb. Oh, that album was bomb. That song was bomb. Oh, this caught my eye. You might whittle that down to maybe 100, and then that 100 further down. Eventually, you're gonna come up with a list. Probably the majority of people you know, heard, already big. You worked on the project yourself. You know what I'm saying? Come on. So, but what you chose several other people have to also choose that, because all they're doing is going by whoever got the most votes. And then out of that, the top 5 final selection, the top 5 finalists based on this first round voting become the official nominees in most categories, while major general field categories get 8. That's it. So all the click in from them 15,000 different people is being counted, and then the top 5 per category, top 8, big 4, that's who's getting announced in November. I think it's November when they announce the nominees. That's it. That's all. So it's this part, the eligibility vetting and the first round voting, that, you know, those are the people you have to reach. And face it, people are busy, so they're not going through, unless they're just got a really free day and board. They're probably not going through all the thousands of submissions they get. They're gonna go through the ones with the biggest gifts. Some of them, outside of the music lovers and the people that are craft lovers. This is about the craft, you know, lovers. All the rest, they gonna vote for what caught their ear this year. You know what I'm saying? Or something they worked on themselves. You know, because I think they get to vote. Hold on, let me see. Does it say? I think they actually get to vote on. They get to vote on the big 4, the major general categories, but then they get 10 votes for all the genre specific and all that, but only under their own expertise. So a songwriter who don't know nothing about producing can't vote on the producer. So it's really their peers in that expertise. 10 categories, you know, they can do 10 categories. So they're not even voting on all the categories. You know, it's expertise specific for the voting academy. So RM, let's say, or even RM, J-Hope, Suga, all of them they're songwriters, and they all got producer credits. So they could vote in those categories up to 10. Now, I don't know if it's 10 combined or 10 each plus the 4 general, but they only got 10. Okay, so here it is, yeah. Voting members of the Recording Academy cast ballots in their areas of expertise. Voting in up to 10 categories across 3 genre fields, plus the general field. So, they have 14 votes per person within their, 14 votes per person. So, like that's, and it says areas of expertise. So they really got to pick and choose what they're even going to vote for, that they're allowed to vote for. And then, once they have chosen out of the thousands of submissions. So that's all I'm saying. Like, these are humans. It's not like a monolith. These are individual folks, including BTS, who have to sit their asses down and review all the submissions, look at the gifts, Look at the packages, because some people will send a gift for your consideration thing. You know what I'm saying? And so, and go through and see what they like, and then hit the button to vote on them or not, because they might like you a lot actually, but there might be three others they like just a little bit more. That's not saying you ain't good and bomb. That's just saying this might be three more, so they might get pushed up as they narrow it down to however many they're allowed to vote for. You know what I'm saying? So it's humans, and then humans with all the biases and stuff that comes with it. So some, maybe even a lot. Like, for one, I think BTS was going to be nominated for Album of the Year and at least Song of the Year. Maybe even Record. They might have got nominated in all three categories. Who knows? Now, some, I do believe, if not more than some, would look at BTS and even still, even though they're in the industry, they still don't realize who BTS is. Come on now. We know this. So they might look at that and say, oh, and just look at Sir, oh, BTS. Oh, yeah. I heard of them. They on tour right now. Yeah. They're Asian. And put them in the Asian category. Just that person. But that person might multiply and be 100 people do that. Okay? If BTS gets put in any subcategory, it don't even just got to be the Asian pop, in my opinion. Any subcategory, they're probably going to win it. They would have probably won it this year. This because of the comeback and all of that. Because Americans, and we love a great story. And BTS leaving for the military and coming back is a great story. So it might not even be about the music. It might be the story itself. They might, oh yeah, these dudes, when they hard. I'm going to vote for this. Especially if there ain't nobody else that's intriguing them that's competing in that category. They might just say, Especially like rappers who's voting in the rap category. They might be like, yo, that was hard. There wasn't no good. Ain't no good really rap music out right now. Bam, BTS. But that's just one vote. That has to happen enough times to be in the top 5 for that category. But they can still win it. You know what I'm saying? If they are. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying. So I hope I was clear, because even though this has been happening, since the beginning of the Recording Academy, based on American, again, culture and xenophobia and racism and all of those things, and then people coming in and saying, we need more inclusion, and adding categories as they can to get other people, even if you don't like it and you think it's separate but equal, it's still acknowledgement. Like, they wouldn't be there otherwise, is the point of that, It's the point. Same with like things like DEI programs and affirmative action. Yeah, you don't like that that's necessary, and yeah, you may feel like that's, well, a lot of people thought it was like, oh no, that's discrimination. They only getting in because of their color. No, this is here because you won't let them in otherwise, even though they're qualified. So we have to make another bucket for them to be able to get access. Same thing. That's just how America works. How you fight the system by adding more categories so more people can get looked at, acknowledged, shown. That's all I'm saying. Like, stop making it black and white. It's not black and white. Like, that's not. So yeah, you could be mad that they made this Asian pop category. You could be mad they made a Latin song. They made a Latin song category. Now that I believe is more racist. It's showing more racist because they did that after a Spanish speaking person won Album of the Year last year. And I will say this, which is hilarious, but it is what it is. That's how it happened. When I heard that, when that got announced, my first thought was not, congratulations, Bad Bunny, that's bomb, go ahead, America, y'all doing it, change. No. My first thought was, damn, now they're not going to give it to BTS next year. That was my first thought. Sorry, not sorry. Like, because I know America and how the good old boys think, and how even like culturally the people who are voting, the artists in the industry, the producers, the songwriters, and all that, most of the Americans still know the same thing I'm thinking. They're thinking the same thing I'm thinking, or the white ones. Let's just keep it real. The ones might feel threatened, like, wow, a Spanish-speaking song. And then the ones who are informed know BTS is right here on the horizon. Like, are they going to have two non-English speaking back-to-back? I mean, it would be awesome. Good looks for America. Change and all that. But really, in the climate of America right now, in 2026, are they going to give the biggest award again to a non-speaking group? My first thought in that opinion, no way, Jose. It's not going to happen. Not during this time in America. Obama, if we was in Obama's time, I might give it to you, because change, everybody was happy, thought change was in effect. So I could see it happening then way more than I could see that happening now. So as unfortunate as that is, the album of the year category was not going to BTS. They're going to get nominated for it. They would have gotten nominated for it. I have no doubt. They would not win that one. Now, record of the year and even song of the year too, possibly, but since that doesn't go to the artist, they might have put them in maybe like any other category. Best top duo performance group one, the new Asian one they created, or several others, or genre specific, one. Whatever other categories they put them in, or a song in, they would have won. So, yeah, it wouldn't have been one of the main ones, but they still would have definitely won, if not more. They might have won one or two. But not album of the year. There's no way the egos, even just not even racial ego, the American ego. Like, dang. I mean, because Bad Bunny's American, though. But they still, because it's not in English, is my point. Even though Arirang is more in English than Bad Bunny's album, but still, it's not fully 100% an all English album. You know what I'm saying? So, album of the year, they would have got nominated, but they would not have won. Only and simply because Bad Bunny won last year. Now, if Bad Bunny wouldn't have won last year, damn right, BTS would have got album of the year this year. But that's not what happened. Bad Bunny won last year, and there's no way they was giving it to another non-English speaking album. Just wasn't happening. Not happening. Not happening, Captain. You're like, that's just not. So, but artist of the year, yeah. Well, they don't even have artist of the year. Best new artist, they wouldn't qualify for that. They're not new. But record of the year, they might have won record of the year. Depending on what they submit, because Swim is their title track, so they might have felt compelled to put in Swim for that category. I don't know if Swim would have won record of the year when you look at the top 10 of the last people who've submitted. There might be some other songs that the overall 15,000 would flex to more than Swim. You know what I'm saying? So it might not have won record of the year. Now, maybe like, at least it might get listened to more by the voters, like Normal, Aliens even, Hooligan, like just, I don't know, some of the more rap, upbeat, more rap ones than Swim. Normal, like those, depending on which one they submit, might get considered for record of the year, because all of them, we charted all of them. We charted all the songs. even number 29. So they can't even, there's not even that excuse that, oh, it's not a chart worthy song. They all charted for multiple weeks. So come on. And then we got music videos for 4 of them. So, like, come on now. So they can do any of those. So depending on that. But I would think the ones that have, like, Mike Willman, like 2.0, or Aliens, or, just have some of the known producers, like if somebody sees their name, like, oh, I do, and might listen to it and be like, oh, this is tight. Vote. You know what I'm saying? Like, might do that for Record of the Year. But outside of that, I could see them they dang sure would win the Asian pop. But I think only Aliens, and unless they submitted the Korean version of Normal, I think only those 2 would qualify for that category, because I think all the other ones have a lot more English in it. Even though they might have some Korean, they have a lot more English. So I don't know. Hooligan, I can't rightly remember. I think Hooligan isn't more like 50-50, like, because the chorus is in English. Now, some of the and then there's English thrown in some of the Korean verses, 1 or 2 words. So if they might consider that like 50-50. But Aliens, I believe, got outside of Aliens. Yeah, we land. And the end of it, I think most of that is in Korean. The rapping and even the singing, the second half of the chorus, when they tell them to take your shoes off at my house. If you come into my house, you better take your shoes off. That's Korean too. So that might be more in line with the rules for the Asian pop category, because it has to have meaningful use of a foreign language, or excuse me, an Asian language. So they might win that. Well, they would win that. So they might not win one of the big 4, but they might win multiple of the sub categories, or even, again, depending on what they submitted, because the Normal music video is cray-cray. So some people might like the set design and the styling, so they might even win for that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but Album of the Year was not going to happen, and not because it doesn't deserve to be, because it absolutely does, but it's because Bad Bunny won last year with a Spanish-speaking album. They are not that ego. I don't think the ego of the majority of them 50,000 can let that go. I don't think they can let that go, But we could have been surprised, but we'll never know, alas, because BTS is not submitting. So it's all moot. But I just wanted to go through this because it's like I'm not hearing the common sense, the culture taking into people just want to be outraged and happy that BTS is doing this, which, it's king shit, okay? When I heard them do that, I said, mic drop. That's what I actually said. Mic drop. Because for the financial purposes, we all know that the Grammys use BTS for ratings. BTS can pull in millions on a come on now. JK just streamed for 7 hours straight. 12 million. It's probably higher now, but 12 million people have watched that. When I got on live in real time, 6 million was watching right along with me. And I only popped in for a second and left. Then I popped in again and it was at 12. So come on now. They pull the ratings that TV wants with a drop JK in his game room, sitting in his boxes, briefs, shorts, whatever, lounging, and just talking and playing video games with Army. So we know what the deal is, why, regardless if they're nominated or not, they want BTS at the Grammys, because Army will watch. Now the main lure to get BTS to the Grammys being a nomination or what have you is gone, because they're not submitting. So now all they can do is beg and ask BTS to perform or present, to just come. Please come. Please come. Please come and show up to the Grammys, so they won't lose out on that viewership, the ratings, and the ad dollars they get. Just like the Super Bowl, if no, look, advertisers, as soon as BTS came back, as soon as they announced the hiatus, Netflix thing, and all that, the Grammys, and we all did, assumed BTS is going to be at the Grammys. BTS is getting nominated for a Grammy. We assumed. Armies, even before we heard one single lyric of any song, just like we bought the album without knowing shit, we knew they was going to be nominated for a Grammy. We assumed that they was going to be nominated for a Grammy. So, on the financial aspect of that, think about that. That Grammy, next year's, the air slot, February 7th, for this Grammy Awards season, was prime advertising real estate. I would say even because of the past history of what BTS can pull and history of what they've been doing since they came back, because not one thing they've done didn't go freaking global and the media value off the roof. If you want to know about that, go to Asian Entertainment and Culture's channel. She discusses that after everything they've done, what the media value for what they've done. Look at just the Paris Fashion Week alone. Quiet as it's kept. The media value that the members have, and this is individually, put them all together and times it, X it up. But and if she can look at that, so can all the industry experts, all the companies that want ad space, all of that. Not to mention the companies who their brand ambassadors are. They already know the power. They're going to dress them for it. They probably already got a Grammy outfit picked out. Well, not anymore, but they did. They just going to repurpose it to somewhere else. But they already got the outfits picked out. Believe that shit. Okay, so I'm just saying. The ad revenue, they were selling slots. They probably was already selling commercial slots. Or had every intention to start it up. For different, whoever, just like in the Super Bowl. They pay millions to get a 15-second, 30-second. And probably on all the social medias too. 30 seconds and all that. Slot. To advertise to everybody, all the eyeballs that's watching. And BTS alone was bringing millions. Millions of eyeballs to that 3-4 hour freaking program. For the whole time, too, depending on when they threw them in. So, and we know they'd like to do it last because that'll keep people watching the whole time. So, that's all I'm saying. So they just lost that. So best believe that's why he issued an apology. Because when other artists have said that they're not submitting to the Grammys, other big artists have said, I don't believe there's been a public statement about it. It was just, okay. But best believe whoever didn't, because nobody saw this coming. So this is a curveball. So just think, all those the marketing team or whatever, whoever's in charge of putting the commercials on, was probably getting all this, interest and stuff. They want to, from different companies who want to spend millions because it'll be the same price, just like the Super Bowl, in my opinion, because the ratings, Army's crazy. We come in droves. Okay, so. It's the same thing. Millions. At least $1 million for a 15-second slot. Maybe $750,000. I'm just saying. So now that is gone. That is like, if they hadn't already signed a deal and can't get out of it, it's gone. And all the people who was waiting to make sure, like after the nominees, somebody tried to wait. I mean, you always lose. You might lose that spot. But some might have tried to wait till November when the nominees are actually announced to see if they trying to spend $1 million on some advertising for their company. They might have. But the ones who didn't already paid, thinking BTS and the eyeballs they bring were going to be, you're going to get that eyesight. So it was worth it. But now it's not, unless the Recording Academy can get BTS to at least present or perform. If they do not show up at all, Army does not show up at all. Unless there's other artists you're trying to see, but you're not showing up to sit through the whole thing. Because like me, I'm hoping that some members of Pentatonics and Pentatonics themselves submit the work that they've released in this last August, since August 31st, and anything they drop up to August 28th of this year. So there's Sacrifice, there's Dawn of a Misfit, there's Heaven on Earth. Then I think Scott did something that also had Heaven in the title. I'm blanking right now. But so those are 4 different things that I'm going to check. I'm going to tune in real quick. But I'll probably just go online and look at the list after the announcement to see if any of my, other favorite band of all time and any of their members submitted and got nominated. That's it. That's all. I'm not going to watch the broadcast because whatever they got nominated in is in the pre-show, not in the televised broadcast. So I won't be watching that at all. No reason to if BTS ain't there. Now, what BTS, I hope they don't. I hope BTS goes live instead for us. Has a party with armies. Ain't even got a party. They could just be eating dinner. Whatever. Dinner with army. That's what I hope happens because February 7th is when the Grammys happen. February 10th is the start of the next leg of the tour next year. They're going to have from at the end of December, end of December, they're going to have a full break until February 10th is the first concert of 2027. So, Grammys is February 7th. First BTS concert, I think in Australia, February 10th. So they do have, technically, they do have the opportunity to go, to the Grammys if they so chose. Or they can just fly their asses right to Australia and, do their practicing and prep pre-game it. Because don't they usually go like 3 days before? Yeah, like it's the 31st. They performing on the 2nd? I don't know if the 1st, but on the 2nd or whatever. And they already left to go to the concert city. So 7th, 10th, they might be like, oh, we on our way to Australia. We can't go to Los Angeles for the Grammys. Sorry, not sorry. That might be another factor in why they're not submitting. Because they know they just can't squeeze it in. I mean, they were nice to squeeze it in for the World Cup, but that was at the end, not the beginning. That was at the end of their Paris show. Then they ran there, then they knew they was going home. That's a little different situation, and it was for charity. This is not for charity. Okay, Grammys is not for charity. So you see what I'm saying? Like, all these factors. So yeah, they might, I'm sure a little bit of it was, just like we all thought, oh, they created this category because they tried to boot BTS into that, or whatever. But, like we didn't already went through all that. Y'all know how I see that. So I'm just saying, like, this is real nuance. I'm proud of our guys. Like, I do not, I 100% agree with whatever stance they want to go with this. I get it. Like, y'all trying to make money off of us, quite as, without giving us, and again, like I said, soon as bad, I knew they weren't going to get album of the, not win it. They were definitely 100%, in my opinion, going to be nominated for album of the year, probably record of the year, and song of the year, just because of all the songwriters and stuff. Plus, I think some of them might even producer of the year non-classical. Even, so, and maybe even, we might have got surprised, maybe even some of the actual subgenres, like best rap album, or best rap artist, or, something like that. So I think we might have got surprised, and even probably some technical categories, too. Because, like I said, 2.0, for just music video alone, 2.0, Hooligan, and Normal were all very, nice, when it comes to set design and costuming and all that. So they might have got, nominated for some of those. Best duo pop performance, definitely would have got nominated in that category. So I'm just saying, like, excuse me, I have no thought that they would not have been nominated, and probably multiple times in different categories, and even in the main categories, but they would not have won Album of the Year. That just was not happening, simply because Bad Bunny already won it the year prior, and they don't want that back-to-back non-English. I think that might be too hard for some folks' egos. The American ego, I think that would have been... honestly, that would have been not... Some people just would not have voted for him simply because of that. So, yeah. So that's what I think. All right, this went way long. Let me know. I did have another stat to show, but I guess it don't really matter. I hope you guys got my point. Well, you know what? Let's show it. So just to show what I'm talking about. And, so Beyonce. So we cannot deny BTS is on that level. BTS is on the Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Bruno Mars, Worldwide, Michael Jackson, the Beatles level. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I brought up Beyonce. Now, Beyonce is one of the most awarded Grammy winners. She has 35 Grammy wins. 35 Grammy wins. Now, the big four, how many of those, I mean, you can see it here, but how many of those do you think she has? One. And she got that in last year. Beyonce has been in the game over 2 decades. She has 35 nominations. Oh, it's more than that. But she's won 35 times. And of that 35, only one was the big four. One of the big four. Album of the Year. Now, we know damn well Beyonce didn't have albums that people thought should have been Album of the Year several times over. Did she win it? No! She won the subs. The subcategories. So, that's all I'm saying. She's won R&B, rap, pop, dance. Probably even some music video production ones too. But she only just won one of the big four. So that's what I'm saying. And that is because, yes, she's, American. She's in this system. She's black. So, based on the American culture and how the voters are and their biases and stuff, a lot of them are going to pick Taylor Swift or somebody else or somebody who did something weird that just a lot of people was attracted to for that year for whatever reason. Somebody you ain't never, who is that? Like you ain't never heard of them. But, so, I mean, it's been happening like this. It's happening like this. So people try to act all shocked and shook when it's, BTS and all. They don't get it. And when I was like, he's missing the whole point. No, he's not. He knows he's black. He knows what it is. That's another thing that I think gets lost, or that's not being considered from non-American people, because that's not something that's popping into your mind, even though it should, because y'all deal with racism all the time. But it's not what's popping into their mind. But for Americans, for Black Americans, it is. Not even just Black Americans, Brown Americans too. It is. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So we get it. And so that's why I get dude what he's saying. Like, he's trying to, and from what people have said about him, he's been consistently adding categories to get more and non-American music recognized. Okay, so that's all I'm saying. But BTS, mic drop, king shit. Do you boo? Because Army is here. Armies, aliens. You know what? Another thing when that dropped, when I found out that BTS said this, that they're not going to be performing. Yo, what popped into my head? What popped into my head was, they don't know about us. They don't know about us. I had to play it. Like, I was that moved. I was like, well, goddamn. I would immediately grab my phone, my playlist, and played it. And then, like, I guess like a lot of other armies, I also played Aliens because that's where it took me. But they don't know about us, like, because I knew immediately the financial people, the ad people, the people who getting that money and placing them ad slots and all that cracked. Like, they exploded, all of that. Because they saw the money. The money disappear. Like it. They saw it leaving because, oh no. Then they hit up dude, like, you have to issue a statement. Dude's like, have we ever done that before? It does not matter. Look, we could make this much money in advertising if we have BTS. You need to say something. You got to get them here. So they're not going to submit. You can't change their mind for that. But you have to, whoever it is in charge of booking the talent and the presenters are under stress. They are stressed right now because they're going to have to do everything in their power to get BTS to come to the Grammys. Let me know in the comments. Do you think BTS is going to go? Even if BTS could drop, send them a video like they did at the AMAs. They could send them a video of one of the performances from their tour, sold out tour. They could do that again. But that we wouldn't know about that because we're not tuning in to know about that unless they advertise that. Then some armies might jump in, but not if BTS also goes live in conjunction that day, because they don't got to be there to drop a performance video, as we know. So, will they get some ratings? Yeah, they will, because armies, we just can't help ourselves. So if they announce it, a performance by BTS, or even a recorded performance by BTS, either way, they ain't gonna say that. They just gonna say performance by BTS. Some armies are gonna tune in, unless BTS goes live and everybody get their Weverse notification. Then we gonna be on the live, not watching the Grammys. So, yeah. We'll see. Let me know in the comments. I, for one, hope they don't. I hope they keep all the millions of us watching on Weverse, a live stream. You know what I'm saying? That's what I hope. Kind of like what they do for Festa. Maybe even a Festa thing, but they not, because like I said, it's still 3 days before they have to go. They have their first concert in Australia, so go to Australia, get settled, go live. That's my thing. Have a welcome back to start of tour, welcome back to resumption of tour party with Art. Excuse me, on the same day as the Grammys. And time. That would be awesome though. And we'll see who has the highest ratings. So I'm hoping they say no to performance, no to presenting, no to we ain't showing up, nothing. Y'all on y'all own this year. Catch you next year. Maybe. That's what I'm hoping. And I think, but again, like I said, if they do decide to go, whatever. That I think that's even a boss move too, because they'll go perform and show them and be like, and we still don't need you to validate us for this album. We don't need your validation for this album. We good. But this is what you missing. This is what you missing, or this is what we are, or this is us. You know what I'm saying? So any of those statements, I'm fine with. But the only thing is, Grammys will still, with you not submitting your thing, Grammys doesn't get, it's you showing up. It's the advertising dollars. That's what they're most interested in. The Recording Academy, as the company where the CEO's involved, the executives, those in the board of their boards and stuff, those people care about the dollars. Now the artist and the voting members, you know, they ain't getting none of them advertising dollars, you know. So they might be more affected by, damn, they's tight. You know, they can sing. Dang, I should have voted for them. They might have those feelings, but shoulda, coulda, woulda. You know what I'm saying? That's all that is. So it's really the executives and stuff. So if BTS was like, nah, we ain't coming, you ain't getting none of our star power to make money off of us. Not this year. I hope that's the way it goes. I truly do. So, but we'll see. So, all right, y'all. This video probably long as hell, but I said what I said. You know what I'm saying? I want to know what y'all think. Do you agree with me? Has this brightened your thing instead of just saying, oh, the Recording Academy needs to do that? No, 15,000 separate folks, including BTS themselves, all the voting members, you know, need to be more open-minded and stuff. That's all. That's it. That's all. But I love you, BTS. You know, they did that, though. Yeah, because for real, they don't know about us, and the aliens was back-to-back in my immediate thought process. And I didn't go on social media, so I didn't know if there was a campaign where people was like, oh, let's stream, you know how they do it. Let's stream Aliens, everybody, and get it to #1. Or if that's just the song collectively Army was like, that applies to this shit, and just start streaming it and listening to it. Like me, it instantly, outside of They Don't Know About Us, that was the second song that immediately I had to hear it because it applied. Like it put me in that feeling. Like I had to hear that song. But They Don't Know About Us was the main, because as soon as I was like, I'll be there. They don't know about us. They don't, like, that's exactly what popped. I literally was like, they don't know about it. Come on! Like, they did that. Like, because it was totally unexpected, but also, in my opinion, totally them. Like, totally them. You know? So, I loved it. And I like to think, I hope it wasn't a campaign that somebody was like, let's do this. I hope that was just a collective Army signal that just spread out amongst us that Aliens was the appropriate song for this situation. All right, y'all. If you enjoyed that, hit this like button. If you stayed this long, you are obviously one of my people. So hit that subscribe button, click on that notification bell so you'll be notified the next time I drop. If you think someone else would enjoy this reaction, sharing is caring. So pass it on. Pass it on. All right, y'all. I will see you in the next one. Peace. And y'all, Bora hey.